Have you ever heard of a ship sinking at random? Or a plane flying off the radar, never to be seen again? How about the hundreds of people missing at sea who have never been found? Have you ever considered that a supernatural force lying in wait in the western part of the North Atlantic Ocean is the cause? Today, we're looking at the mystery of the Bermuda Triangle. Bermuda was known as a magical island long before the Bermuda Triangle legend gained popularity. Early seafarers who were alarmed by the sound of wild pigs and cowbirds on the shore gave the island the nickname the Devil's Island. The Bermuda Triangle myth has its earliest roots in Columbus, who recorded a faulty compass, weird lights, and a flash of flame falling into the water in his logbook. Columbus and other sailors who came after him also came into the dangerous area of the sea, now known as the Sargasso Sea. Legends from the past described sailboats that became permanently stuck in a body of calm water, surrounded by seaweed and the wreckage of other ships that had suffered the same fate. At least 50 ships and 20 aircrafts have disappeared in the Bermuda Triangle in the last 500 years, most of them without a trace. There have been no wrecks, no bodies, nothing. It's like they just vanished from existence. Numerous people have disappeared in the allegedly calm waters surrounding the triangle without making any sort of distress call. In one instance, 5 TBM Avenger torpedo bombers departed Fort Lauderdale, Florida on a routine 2-hour training mission at 2:10 p.m. on the afternoon of December 5th, 1945. At 4 o'clock, they had their last radio communication. They were never heard from again. The 27 soldiers in the planes vanished without a trace. The planes vanished as if they had flown to Mars, according to the official Navy reports. So how did the ships and aircraft vanish? What happened? There truly is no explanation for all of these disappearances, but sometimes you have to be open to unconventional thinking in order to find an unconventional answer. And sometimes you have to be open to the fact that the mystery goes deeper than you could have ever imagined. The Bermuda Triangle has been blamed for the loss of ships and planes, but in recent years has found itself accused of something much, much bigger. What if the Bermuda Triangle was responsible for the disappearance of the lost city of Atlantis? For those who don't know, the lost city of Atlantis is one of the oldest and biggest mysteries in the world. Atlantis was originally referenced more than 2,300 years ago by the Greek philosopher Plato, who lived in 300 BCE. Plato described Atlantis as a utopian island kingdom that allegedly existed 9,000 years before his time and inexplicably vanished one day. According to Plato, a tsunami or earthquake is thought to have caused the city to sink into the ocean. Plato said that the alleged Atlantis was a sizable island close to the Rock of Gibraltar that featured a statue of Poseidon, circular walls, and waterways. In his description for the enigmatic underwater kingdom, for the ocean was at the time navigable, for there lay an island larger than Libya and Asia together, in front of the mouth, which you Greeks call, as you say, the Pillars of Hercules, and the travelers of that time could cross from it to the other islands, and from the islands to the whole of the continent over against them, which encompasses the veritable ocean. Tertullian, an early Christian author who thought Atlantis had once existed in the Atlantic Ocean, agreed with Plato, saying that the island would be larger than both Libya and Asia today. But what happened to make Atlantis disappear? Well, according to legend, Atlantis once belonged to Poseidon, the Greek sea god who met and married Cleito, a young woman native to the island. On the island, Poseidon constructed a city, and on a peak in the middle of the city, he erected a palace for Cleito. Poseidon eventually divided the island into 10 halves and gave each of the couple's 10 children control over one, with their firstborn, Atlas, having the island named after him. Atlantis was a utopia where no one had to work hard and where a wide variety of delicious foods were grown. For the island, Poseidon had fashioned a stream of hot and a stream of cold water. It had a magnificent culture with magnificent palaces and temples. Gold, silver, and other precious metals were in great abundance with the rulers. According to legend, the people of Atlantis were so significantly more technologically and scientifically evolved than people of today. They claim to have found the key to unrestricted energy and power, using crystals to channel their power. The Atlanteans were said to have achieved extraordinary feats, such as flying in spaceships like anti-gravity devices, possessing laser-like weapons, talking computers, and even communicating telepathically. The inhabitants of Atlantis enjoyed a time of unparalleled peace and prosperity. Then, things started to change. The gods started mating with people. The Atlanteans developed a need for more than they already had. They made the decision to invade the nations bordering the Mediterranean. Zeus, incensed by the actions of the Atlanteans, produced an earthquake, or possibly a series of earthquakes, which caused Atlantis to submerge under the ocean over the period of 1 day and 1 night. But what if the legend was wrong? What if Atlantis was swallowed up by the enigma that is the Bermuda Triangle? Several academics believe that this utopian kingdom formerly covered an entire continent off the Bahamas before being engulfed by the Bermuda Triangle. Many readings regarding Atlantis were recorded between 1924 and 1944 by an American psychic by the name of Edgar Cayce, who claimed to be able to channel information about the lost metropolis. The Bahamas Bank, according to him, were the last piece of Atlantis to sink. A trail of energy crystals previously used to power the city was located here. He said that these electromagnetic energies were capable of interfering with the electronic systems of ships and aircrafts and making them disappear. Off the shore of the Bahama Islands, in the western part of the North Atlantic, divers found steps, walkways, walls, and even pyramids deep down into the ocean. In a series of expeditions that started in 1968, professional diver Dr. Ray Brown, a naturopathic practitioner from Mesa, found what he believed to be an underwater Atlantean metropolis in the region known as the Bermuda Triangle. He and his men were looking for sunken Spanish galleons nearby Bimini in the hopes of discovering hidden wealth. On one of the many dives, Brown and 4 other divers found themselves trapped in an incredibly strong tropical storm that tore apart their boat and mixed up the sand on the ocean floor. They consequently came across the ruins of a sizable underwater metropolis. When Brown glanced up at one point, he saw the sunshine piercing the water and shining on what appeared to be a massive pyramid constructed of extremely polished stone. Its surface was so smooth that it resembled a mirror. He discovered that it was constructed from a blue stone that resembled lapis lazuli upon closer inspection. Lapis lazuli is thought to defend against psychic attacks, bring about profound calm and harmony, and expose inner truths, honesty, and compassion. It also promotes self-awareness and self-expression. Lapis lazuli is revered as the wisdom stone because of its healing properties. With its strikingly beautiful blue coloring, it was a favorite of the Egyptian pharaohs thousands of years ago. Brown spotted an opening into the blue shining chamber, and once inside, he discovered himself in a square room with a peaked ceiling. A 2-inch diameter, gold-colored metallic rod with a pedestal underneath it had upward-facing metallic hands hung straight down from the ceiling. A crystal sphere in flawless shape was in their hands. There were 7 extremely sizable stone chairs circling the pedestal. Brown realized he was running out of breath and that his time was running out. He attempted to move the golden rod but was unable, but he was able to get a hold of the crystal sphere. He may have sensed a menacing presence in the chamber at the same moment and heard a voice arguing him to go and never come back. Heeding the advice, he never went back to the spot where he had discovered it. But regrettably, the other 4 divers did, and one by one, they drowned. Did Brown's work prove the existence of Atlantis? Not only that, did it prove a connection between the lost city and the mystery of the Bermuda Triangle? Could the very existence of the enigma have spawned from the greed and eventual punishment of the Atlanteans?